Hello and welcome to Authentic Conversations with Moji. Today is June 1st, a brand new month. I'm going to wait a few moments for people to come into the studio with me, and then we can have this authentic conversations. I don't have a title for it because there's a lot going on in the world today. So bear with me while we wait a few moments for others to come in. Today is, I think, one of those, I haven't slept a lot of hours over the weekend trying to do research and figure out where do we go from here. And I've been asking a lot of honest, open questions. I've been speaking from my heart. As an empath, I feel a lot. I pick up a lot of energies from different places. That is usually what drives my thoughts, my experiences all over the universe so far is part of what drives who I am. The ability to change myself and unlearn what I've been taught is how I became who I am today, and I'm always open to learn. So I tend to ask a lot of questions, and I will ask the questions as authentically as possible. Nobody knows it all. I don't usually have solutions. What I have is information, and what I try to give is my life experiences. Life lessons don't come cheap. My prayer always is that it does not cost us more than we can afford. This is Authentic Conversations with Moji. Do me a favor, share the video. This one is going to be very, very bloody. And I apologize in advance to you sensitive people, because I am as well. But it's necessary that we start to talk about the things that affects all of us and probably the next generations to come. Hey, and welcome again. Happy new month, like my village people like to say. So, look, I usually don't write things down. I've been scribbling. I've been writing a lot lately because if I put all my thoughts on social media, a lot of people are not going to like it, because what I see is that a lot of people, we all are not having authentic conversations because we're afraid of what people would say. We are afraid of how society will respond. Let's clear three things, just three. Number one, George Floyd, a black man that went through a hard life, was trying to, had cleaned himself up, moved from Houston to a whole nother state to get a new life. We know that. We also know that he met his killer, Mr. Chevron, at his place of work, that they work together. We don't have a lot of things out there yet. We still don't have the body cam. So because we don't have the body cam, we don't have the full view, but we know what we saw from different angles, because I spent the whole weekend looking at different angles, listening to different newscasters, listening to different interviews. And the one question that I had that bothered me a lot is the fact that we are in 2020. My God, an African was just sent into space a few days ago. An African just went into space a few days ago. We have achieved a whole lot since the Martin Luther King days. Malcolm X came, Black Panthers came, and then things changed. But we're still fighting about the same things that Martin Luther King was fighting for, that the Black Panthers were fighting for, that Malcolm X was fighting for. The only thing that's changed is that we can now sit on the bus wherever we want to. Yay! We can all go through the same doors. Fantastic. Affirmative action was put into place. I think it's a bad thing, but that's a whole nother show. Welfare system, they tried to use a welfare system to destroy the African-American lives, but eventually some people woke up and realized that that's not the way to go. So for me as an African, I repeat, please hear me loud and clear. For an African, Black, gay, immigrant, I am fighting battles every day from all over the place. So my experiences might be different from Folajinodu's, who is a black man. He's a black man whose life is threatened every day, Folajinodu, who owns a restaurant in the heart of DC, but he's still a black man. When he steps out his door, he is a black man. His fears, his unconscious bias is different from mine because I'm a black woman, gay black woman. Now, when Folajinodu steps out, it's going to be different from Olu, who's a black woman as well. But she's straight, so she has her own heterosexual privileges that she enjoys because she's not gay. She's not going to get the gay attack. I have friends that are Muslims. When they wear their hijab and they step out in America, they get funny looks, they get things, they get whispers and words thrown at them. Our unconscious biases are all different. Our experiences are all different. So dialogue is how we're going to get better, in my opinion. Like I said, I don't know everything. So I take classes and I listen and I ask questions. I called Olu today and said, hey, I need your opinion on something, because nobody knows it all. I speak to a lot of people and I ask for inputs. That's how we become educated. I put up a post on my page a few days ago where I said, look, my foster parents were white. I'm a black woman that's experienced discrimination on every level. I'm a black told to go back to her country by black Americans. I'm a black woman that's been told she's not Nigerian enough by Nigerians. Believe it or not. Because I grew up in the United States, I'm not considered Nigerian enough. So my experience from where I sit, I feel like a mutt. I'm not going to hate all Muslims because some Muslims flew into the plane because people hate me for being gay. One, I'm not going to hate all white people because black people hate me for being African. Black Americans hate me. A lot of black Americans hate me for being African. I'm not going to hate all white people because my best friends are white, as I have black friends. I'm a person that sits there and says, let's look at this thing. Let's look at the problem. The problem is the fact that this system in America was not built for Africans. Americans, black people in general, when they were writing the Constitution, trust me, they were not thinking, oh, the people that we brought here to build the country for free, we have to give them equal rights. Now, how do you get your rights? For me, as an African woman that came to this country not knowing anybody, that suffered in this country, okay? I have been homeless. I have lost everything. I have had to walk. I then bought a bicycle and rebuilt my business. So when people talk about privileges, let me tell you why I kept working hard, because I knew that if you are poor in America or anywhere in the world, you will be discriminated against. Now, let me tell you what would have happened was if I had stayed down when I was sleeping on the floor in a friend's house in one room with a mattress on the floor, no bed, with four children, four kids in those days. And I was walking door to door, putting my business cards on doors after the market crashed. If I had stayed there, not only would I be considered black, gay, African, okay, I would also be considered poor. So there's like so many different things. What can I control? I can control who I become. So what I did was I started to unlearn the bad habits and the bad things that I was taught growing up. And I started to reprogram myself. And that reprogramming is what I bring to the table. Now, here's the problem that I'm having with this whole thing. Really, we're beginning to lose focus of who the enemy is. The enemy is systematic racism. As an African woman that comes from a country where four young girls, 14 to 22, were raped and brutalized and killed last week. One 14-year-old girl was shot by a police officer in Nigeria. A girl was raped in a church while she was studying in a church. She was gang raped and killed. And Nigerians are not speaking up. See, I don't believe that jumping up and down is not a good thing. Shuku to all of you that want to do that. We need all these things to happen on different levels. I personally believe from my walk in life that when you bring yourself, you become educated, once you acquire skills, once you are able to stand up and get into the boardroom. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, because all my work in the real estate business, I was discriminated against. I've told many stories of how I was stopped by the cops. I've told stories of how I was not allowed into certain groups because I was Black, not because I wasn't qualified, but because I was Black. I have complained about how Black Americans don't even accept me. I've complained about how Nigerians don't accept me because I don't think like most Nigerian people. I'm used to that. But let me tell you guys, being Black and rich, yes, thank you. Being Black and rich does not absolve you from anything, but at least it gives you an opportunity to sit at the table. Okay, it gives you an opportunity to work hard to get to the table, and not all of us are going to make it there because there will be bridges, there will be barricades on the doors. It's our jobs to continue to break down those doors, those barriers, because of our children and their children's children. Okay, being rich, I repeat, is not going to stop you from being Black. Being successful, not rich, because rich is money. You can be a very successful person and not have a lot of zeros in your bank account if you're not willing to sell out. I have chosen not to make money off of this show for now because I have a voice that's not for sale. Once people start sponsoring my show, then I can't say this, I can't say that. It's a choice I consciously made. When we start living by choice, things will change. See, one of the things I spoke about on my page is that I am a mutt of sorts. You know, how do we change a system that has their knees on all Black people's necks all over the world? Because if you think this thing only affects Black people here, it affects us in Nigeria, Uganda, Ghana, Haiti, Jamaica, go all over Africa. It's the same thing. And how did we get there? We got there because of our mindset. We got there because of the way we subconsciously were taught that we were not good enough because of their actions. We have had knees on our necks for many, many years. We tell kids, go to school, you'll be great, and yes, go to school, but understand that you have to be 10 times better than the average white person. Is that fair? No, it's not. But that's the reality. I used to live in Moji's world. Remember? Everything was Moji's world. I used to say, Moji's world, this is how we do it. This is how we do it. What I realized is that I was walking around with colored lenses. You notice my glasses used to be purple. Now it's solid white. So I can see clearly. There's so many biases all over the place. So I posted on my page because I'm always thinking about ways. I'm sorry, I'm not that victim mentality. Oh, why me? Woe is me. I don't do that anymore. I am way past that point in my life where I'm going to sit here and say, oh, if only I had a mother that lived at home. If only my dad did not send me to. It's happened. I need to face, what can I do differently to change the narrative of our children? What can we as a collective group do to change the narrative? What we can start doing is allowing people to ask questions. These same white people that I called out on my page, oh, none of my white people friends are doing anything. They're not saying anything on social media. Little did I know that a friend of ours who is white, in where there was a rally, almost got shot for being part of the protesters. Then we all screamed, white people need to join the race. White people need to join the arguments. Guess what? We opened the door. We said every white person come out. We didn't have any criteria. We didn't say this. We didn't have any strategy. We opened the door and all kinds of people were crazy. And all the white supremacists came out as well. We've been fighting this battle for a long time. In my personal opinion, I always say that. In my personal opinion, the rallies help. Some say the riots help. I don't believe so. If you believe it, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But we have to find solutions. But the solutions cannot be us turning against each other. The solutions cannot be us telling Africans, I'm not African, like a Facebook friend said this morning, I was might as well have slapped me. And my question, which was very fair, was if people are willing to die, because at that point I've been doing research and I found out 2 people had died in the riots. I forget what town, I think in Buffalo or something like that. 2 people had died. Okay, 2 people have died. So I said, if people, why, I posted on my page, if people are willing to die in a riot for equal rights against racism, why did they not try to stop the cops? Yes, the cops had guns. Yes, the cops there was 3, 4 of them, but there was a mob that was growing. My thinking is maybe there's ways we could have stopped the man from being killed, because now we're all jumping up and burning down buildings. Now you guys are all jumping up and burning down buildings. How can we become proactive and not reactive? See, proactive is what I believe in. We can't be reactive. I've gone to too many damn marches in Staten Island. I have stood night vigils. I've done too many night vigils. It's not working. I am 55 years old. My oldest son is 19, 6'1", black, Nigerian American. So all weekend, all I kept saying to my wife is, that could have been our son. That could have been me. That could have been Fola Junodu. That could have been anybody that I know. What can we do differently? So the thought came to me and said, okay, so how about we rush this person that's kneeling? First thing I said was, wait, the other 3 policemen that were standing there, standing guard, while Chevron had his knee on the neck of this man, could have done something. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. They should have done something. Don't tell me that white cops are standing there and didn't do anything and they're not responsible either. I'm angry just like the rest of you guys. But the difference is my anger, I have always used my anger to propel me to a higher level. When I'm angry about something, I go to school, I study, I get a certificate and start and learn how to make it better. How do we make this situation better? We've been burning down buildings, we've been rioting, we've been talking, we've been doing a whole lot of things that's not working. I've been screaming for 10 years. We need to hit them where it hurts, in their pockets. Stop shopping at stores that support governments that are not working for African Americans and Black people in general. Stop buying from shops that disrespect us. Stop spending your money in Target and buy from local shops. If you hit them in the pockets, it will hurt. Get educated. Get angry. Get so angry, my people. Get angry. But get angry enough to get educated. Get angry enough to tell your children the truth. Stop telling people I don't see color. I see color. You have to see color. Because the truth is that I am different from who's a white person. I'm different from Miss Cheryl, who's a very good friend of ours. I am different from a lot of people. A lot of my white friends. I am different from them. Stop. I hate it when people say I don't see color, especially white people say I don't. Of course you do. I'm standing right in front of you. I'm not the same color as you. Acknowledge my color. Acknowledge the fact that I am a Black woman, and it's okay. But for them to be able to do that comfortably, we Black people have to allow them to do that. Let them ask us questions. Let them ask us how we grew up. Share our stories with them so that they can be compassionate. They cannot feel what we feel, because even if I'm a size 9 and my wife is a size 9, our last is different. The way we step is different. So when she puts on my shoes, it's not going to feel amazing to her. Okay, it's not going to feel fantastic. She can wear the shoes, but it's not going to be fantastic. So allow people to ask questions. So one day, for me, it's like if we don't start communicating with each other, we're going to do what? We're going to be here 25, 45, 50 years from now. I am 55. I came here when I was 15. We're still fighting about the same things. We're still doing the same things over and over and over. We need to start telling our children the truth. I just realized we're lying to our children. We should fight for equality. We tell our children to get the best grades. They do, but they are overlooked for that special prize? How do we continue to keep them motivated? Something has got to give eventually. Yes, it will give, but it's not going to give tomorrow. You're talking about 400 years of systematic racism. You're talking about 400 plus years of people that are enslaved. You're talking about generations of white people that have been taught that Black people are not up to par. It's not our job to convince them that we are up to par, but it's our job to continue to do the best that we can. It's our job to continue to tell our children the truth. Look, you are a Black man. I say that to our son every day. The boy is like, oh, okay, I know, you're going to tell me. Because everybody is on summer holidays. Right now, we haven't taken classes. Most people's kids are on summer holidays. We have our son taking classes. Why? Because look, as a Black child, we tell him, Moji, have been telling them this for many years. As a Black child, you have to be 10 times better. Is it fair? No. Is it the way the world is? Yes. Once we start to understand that the world is not where we want it to be as Black people, but we can continue to do the best that we can and keep pushing the envelope, get the education, get better degrees, be the best in your class to the point that they need you. See, unlike a lot of people that have not had the opportunity to be around CEOs and executives and VPs that are Black, a lot of us have. So we know that the promised land is possible. We know that this thing is possible. Is it easy? Of course it's not. It's not easy. It's not easy. Fola Jinadu says we don't need their compassion, we need their respect. We demand our respect and equality. You can demand your respect and equality all you want. And I agree with you. Because one of the things that I respect the most about people is that about a lot of my friends, is that we treat everybody the same until you do something that jacks it up. The world is not fair for Jinadu. When people are compassionate, when they understand your story, when they understand you, when they see you as a person, a Black man that has been struggling all your life, as a white person that has no idea and they're living in this bubble. A lot of white people are living in bubbles. They don't have Black friends. They don't understand it. The only thing that they know about Black people is what they see on the TV. That's why dialogue is so very important. Dialogue is so very important. Fola Jinadu, you said something. I'm going to keep you up there for a moment. You said, we don't need their compassion. We demand our respect and equality. See, people don't understand that in diversity, because they allow you into a room, does not mean they're including you in the room. Because look, it's like a lot of my straight friends say, Moji, oh, you're cool, you're a gay person and I'm fine with it. But they don't invite me to their parties. They don't invite me places. They don't invite me to whatever it is that they're doing, right? So automatically in their heads, because they're my friends, that means I'm included. So if you say we demand our respect without you don't need their compassion, honey, shuku to you. But for me, I believe that empathy and compassion is the way to go all around. Understanding that even the white people, a lot of these racist people, they were taught certain things. It's like Christianity. They were taught. A lot of them believe that they're Christians, but that's another show. We're not even going to go that route. A lot of them believe that they're Christians. Now, let me take it one step further, because when we talk about racism in America, we forget that there's Black Americans that don't believe that Black Africans should be here. And I'll give you a great example of it. All right. A few years ago, I posted a question in a group that I belong to. And I said, what are your thoughts on foreigners in the US? Because this was when Donald Trump was about to come in. And somebody that's a friend of mine, Jordan Rhodes, on my page, who I still left on my page, because I forgive people. You hurt me, I forgive you, for me, not for you. And I move on, because I believe that we need different types of people in our circle so that I can learn from her and maybe she'll learn something from me. So I kept her on my page. And then today something else happened. But a few years ago, many, many years ago, when Donald Trump was being put into office, and I kept asking, because me, I always ask, I don't know everything. So I will ask people. So I posted in a group and I said, what do you think about, what are your thoughts of foreigners in the US? Mind you, Moji, that posted the question. I am a Black woman. I am a Black Nigerian woman that posted the question. Donald Trump was saying no Black people, no foreigners that are Black in America. I am a Nigerian Black woman, business owner, gay woman that's in this country. Because if I live in Nigeria, allegedly, we're going to jail for 14 years. So I posted in the group, mainly all Black people. And I said, what are your thoughts on foreigners in the US? Jordan Rhodes, a Facebook friend, talk about me and the ability to allow people to speak their mind in truth, to have authentic conversations, right? What are your thoughts on foreigners in the US? Jordan Rhodes wrote, they should make America great again. LOL, basically referring to Donald Trump making America great again. But that didn't even bother me as much as I think we need to stop letting people into this country. We don't need a wall. We just need to work on the ones that are here. Troops, mentally ill, jobless, take care of home, then see about other countries or something. I can't read the whole thing. But the point I'm trying to make here, honestly, is that the unconscious bias that a lot of us have, that we don't realize that as our words and our thoughts and things, they hurt. A Black Nigerian woman, a Black immigrant, asked a question because Donald Trump was saying, no foreigners that are Black, no more visas to Black countries. And a Black American says, keep the foreigners out. See, right there, we all have work to do on ourselves. And until we stop this victim mentality where we believe that people are actually out to get us, especially Black and Nigerians, Africans are here to get from you, we contribute to society. If we don't start to listen to each other and we don't start to work together and we don't give each other the permission, if we don't give each other the permission as people to voice our fears, to voice our ignorance, to voice our questions so we can grow, we're still going to be here 50 years from now. If a white person comes to me and says, oh, Moji, you know, why is it that Black people wear their pants down? I don't know. I don't wear my pants down to my kneecaps, but let me find out from friends that do. And I'll get back to you. They're not trying to be racist. They're trying to understand it. Somebody actually asked me that question one day. A white person asked me that question one day. And I said, I don't know. I don't wear my pants down to my knees. And I have a lot of friends that don't wear their pants down to their knees. So let me ask a friend that does. And I asked her. And she said it's fashion. So I Googled it and then I found out it's a thing that came out of jails in America. Systematic racism is the issue. How do we change it? How do we stop getting the same results that we've been getting for over 60 years? That is the question. Africa is going through what they are doing. Africa is going through what they're going through because we don't have the courage to speak up. Black Americans have the courage to speak up, but you want to kill, a lot of them want to shut down anybody that's not originally here. A person of color should be able to join the boardroom knowing they worked hard to get there, not because they are a token and middle. Thank you. When I did a show, thank you. When I did a show about the fact that affirmative action is not asking for the best person qualified for the job, I was slaughtered by African Americans. Because my thing is, look, if not all, because look, the reality is that we're not all going to be rich. We're not all going to be poor. We're not all going to be one of anything. There's going to be a lot of differences in the world. That's the fact. We know that. So now you have to make a choice as to where you want to be. In Nigeria, as a Yoruba woman, if I go to an Igbo-run company, I probably won't get the job. Not because I'm qualified, but because I'm Yoruba. There's tribalism all over the world. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying the realities are here. What do we do differently to get a different result? That's the ultimate question. So fighting each other and abusing each other for asking questions, to me, is not the way to go. If somebody asks a question, answer to the best of your knowledge, debate it with them because you're educating them and you, God forbid, might even learn something. But telling me you're not African, like somebody else did, Jordan Rhodes told me, I'm not African. I believe in everybody getting, I believe in everybody being respected. I was like, wait. Where did you get the impression that I, as a Nigerian woman, do not believe in people getting respect? Why do you think I do what I do? If I cannot communicate my fears or my thoughts or my questions openly as a Black person, imagine if it was a white person that was thinking the same thing, that posted the same question, she would have been slaughtered, she would have been hung. See, you guys don't even understand how hurtful my journey in America has been at the hands of Black Nigerian men because I'm gay. How painful it has been because I'm a Black Nigerian woman from Black Americans. And then I am how hurtful from the racist white people. But yet I can sit here. I can sit here angry that Black men, especially, are disadvantaged in 2020 in America. Not because I have Black sons, but because I'm a human being. The same way a white person that's not racist, that's able to see through, can sit there and be upset and angry that Black people are disadvantaged in America. We tell the children go to school. We forgot to tell them, look, you're a Black person. All these people telling you they don't see color, it's a lie. It's a lie. Until we all start to have these open conversations, authentic conversations about color and race, until you start to honor my difference, until you start to honor what makes me different from you, we're not going anywhere. We really are not going anywhere. I don't get tribalism either. Tribalism to me is the same thing as racism until we all face that. And then a lot of Black Americans like to talk about the fact that, Africans should go back to their country. Whoa. Africans should go back to their country. Let me take that one for the very last time. Nobody except Cherokee American Indians owns this country. And if African Americans claim to be Africans, they too have the choice to go back to Africa. A lot of Africans are dying on dinghies to come to this country. They're willing to put their life at stake to get away from Africa, to come here for a better life. If you think we should go back, then you should go back too. You should go back too. The problem is racism, systematic racism. Policies that have been put in place to destroy Black people. The boardrooms, when you walk in, when I walked into many board meetings, I was usually the only Black person in there. Now, when I start shouting, you should let people in. Why aren't you letting more Black people in? Oh my God, we need diversity at this table. They tell me, okay, give me people that are qualified, that are Black. See? This is why I say, look, be angry. I am angry. I have not slept for days. My eyes are swollen. I have cried my eyes out because I'm an empath, because of what is going on in the universe today. I have sobbed all weekend. But sobbing all weekend and not trying to come up with a different approach makes no sense. So to get a different approach, we all have to put out ideas and ask questions ourselves. Black and white, brown people, everybody. We need to start to have authentic conversations. We need to start to speak in truth with each other without communicating with each other, talking to each other. White people are not going to understand our walk. Same way I, Moji, cannot understand the walk of a Black American that grew up in the ghetto in America. But I can understand, I can't even understand the walk of a person that lives in Mushin, because I didn't grow up there. That's a neighborhood in Nigeria. I cannot understand the walk of a person that grew up in the north. But if we speak to each other with respect, if we ask questions and allow each other to ask questions, Black, brown, white people, so they can understand where we're coming from and hear our voices. I personally believe something's going to change. Interpersonal relationships is the only way. Because the only way I became who I am is because I was privileged to have white friends. I have been privileged to be raised by white people. All my life, the people that opened doors for me were not black people. Every time I got up to a place where a black person was holding the door, I swear on my life, they bolted the damn door shut. So my experience is different from Shakwana's. Shakwana's experience is different from Mojikwa's. Mojikwa's experience is different from Gerald. Gerald's experience is different from Olu. But until we start to share our stories amongst each other, until we start to talk to each other, nothing's going to change. And until we start to ask each other, what can we do differently? Nothing is going to change. Black people built America. Black people built America without getting paid a dime. White people came into Africa and colonized us as well. We were slaves on our own motherland. We've been slaves. Africans were enslaved. That's why we believe that anything made in America or made abroad is better. You know, and that's it. That's it. Alel says we all should go back to our country and live for real owners, which are the Indians. When we all go back to our country, who's going to hold up the country? What are you going back to your country for? I am Nigerian. If I want to go back to Nigeria today, there's a 14-year gay law that's waiting there that says if I'm married to the same gender, I go to jail for 14 years. What country am I going back to? The country I left when I was 40-something years ago? Is that the country? The country I don't know? Is where I'm going back to? Or is it an Irish person that's been here 3 generations deep that's supposed to go back to their country? What country? This is everybody's land. What we all need to do, in my opinion, again, is that we need to start to talk up to each other and start to use our powers in the right places to create a change. To create a change. Onu says, did they bolt the door due to fear? Of course, fear is, I believe that it's fear. Fear is what's holding African Americans from getting to know Africans. Fear is what's holding Africans from getting to know African Americans, because on TV before we came here, all I knew about Black Americans is that they kill people, they kill each other, they shoot, they have no respect for life. Nobody taught me why they do what they do. Systematic traumas make people do stupid things. Trauma. You're watching your father, your brother, your cousin, your aunt on drugs 24/7. You're watching them give up because they can't get a job in those days. Times are changing. They're just not changing fast enough. So how do we get the will to move faster is where we need to go. When I said a Black person, every time I get to the door with all my qualifications, with my resume that's long from here to there, and I've been on many, many boards in my life, when I get there and it's a Black person holding the door, they bolted shut out of fear that I will take their place. That I, Moji, will take their place. Because there's not enough places in the top. So what do? We're like crabs in a barrel. They shut the door. Most doors that I've had the opportunity to walk through, it's because some white person said, oh, you should think about Moji, or what do you think about Moji and what she's done and her charitable organizations and what she's contributed to the domestic violence movement on Staten Island. I used to go and teach classes to women on how to build, disadvantaged women on how to build businesses and such. That's how we create a change. We don't create a change by jumping up and down on social media and things like that. That's not the way. When we start to own businesses, sit at the table, it's going to be hard. Oh my God. It's going to be so hard. But that is the way to push the envelope. That is the only way. Use your anger to propel yourself to the top. Every brick that's been thrown at you, use it to build a ladder to the top where you can now reach down and help other people and open those doors and keep the doors open. I'm not sorry that I think differently from a lot of people. That mentality of, oh my God, I'm a victim. No. Here is where I am today. It took me 20-something years to get here. I am created by God. And in the Bible, they said on the 6th day, God sat down and he looked back and said, he made everything excellent. If God made me in his own image, why would I now be afraid of a white man? I am not a fearless person. We all have our fears. We all have our unconscious bias. We all have things that scares us. But it's time we stop talking about, oh, we want a colorblind world. There's no colorblind world. We all have color. We have melanin. The degree is what's different. Honor my blackness, and I'll honor your whiteness. Honor my being Nigerian, and I will honor your being Black American. Honor my being gay, and I will honor your being straight. There's biases all across the board. The Black one is so deep. It's so deep. They're shedding Black blood in America, and they're shedding Black blood in Nigeria. 2 young women were raped and killed. Raped. 2 young women died. One was gang raped and killed. The other one was shot by a police person in Nigeria. This problem is bigger than Nigeria. You have racism in Nigeria. You have police brutality all over the world. Systematic racism is the enemy. I am not your enemy. You are not my enemy when it comes to the race issue. But when it comes to you attacking me personally, then you become my enemy. We're all looking for the same goal. Peace for all Black people. Not just Black Africans, not just Black Americans or Black UK people. No, Black people all over the world. See, one thing I started to do was mention the fact that my wife taught me, because I was running up and down trying to save this one, save that one, and I was so depressed. Every day I was stuffing my face. I didn't understand why. And then I realized it's because I'm an empath, because, oh my God, I am an empath. I feel people's pain. Even people that hurt me, I try to understand where they're coming from. That's why a lot of people are still on my page after they've called me abomination, they've called me a B word, they've told me to go back to my country, because I believe that they're coming from their place of pain, as I come from mine sometimes. What can we do differently? Chika says, went at it with a man that just took offense with my comment. He said he leaves it every day. I don't care if he leaves it all day. All I did was express myself about my experiences. I have worked with a company that had 99% Black, and they were their own worst enemy. All our experiences are different. Chika, like I said earlier before you made your comment, my worst experiences in America has been from Black Americans, not from white people. But I still experience discrimination, racism from white people as well. Being a gay woman, I am bullied and trolled on social media by a lot of Nigerian men and women. Being a Black person in America that climbed to the top in his business has not been easy. I have bled. I have cried. I have sat there and asked God, why would you bring me to this world? I was born in Nigeria. Now I'm a Black Nigerian in America. And then you have to make me gay. Think about it. But you know, if we continue to feel sorry for ourselves and we don't speak in truth, part of the problem is that people dance around each other and not speak the truth. I said on a show a few months ago where I gave my son a lecture, and I give it to my girls as well. Every time I speak to my kids, if you get stopped by a cop, be respectful, because you have to respect authority. It's not going to stop them from killing you if they want to, but it's going to reduce the chances of you being shot, because the Olokpa, the man himself, is just as scared as you, as you are of him. The day the police stopped me, I put my hands on the steering wheel and I was shaking like a leaf, because my wife and I are driving in a fancy car through Staten Island. We did nothing wrong. We didn't cross the light. We didn't run a light. Everything was intact. They just racially profiled us because we were driving through an allegedly bad neighborhood. When they stopped us, both our hands, my wife put her hand on the dashboard, I put my hand on the steering wheel. When he said, give me your driver's license and whatever, I said, officer, I am reaching out. It's not going to stop a racist person from killing me, but it will stop that young white guy that thinks all black people are one way or the other from killing me that day. My job as a parent is to tell my children the truth. You are a black person. When your white friends that you run around with because your parents are kind of comfortable, when they do anything wrong and you're there, you're the first one to be picked up because you're black. That's the truth. I'm not trying to scare him. That's the truth. If we all don't start having these honest conversations, instead of telling them, oh, it's unfair. Yes, it's unfair. But the reality is the reality today. My job is to make sure that my children and loved ones come home. If you want to raise your children a different way, shuku to you. My job is to tell our children in our family that you must be 10 times better than a black person, than a white person. Is it fair? No. But when he gets into the boardroom and he's sitting there, instead of playing football, okay? Half the time, black people are running around playing football, soccer this and this and that. No money. You go and get an academic scholarship. Get a 4.0. Write your good essay and get into a good university. You will work 10 times as hard to become the best version of yourself. 10 times as hard to become a black, responsible person. Respectable person. Is it fair that we have to work 10 times as hard? No, it's not fair. But is that the reality? Yes, it is. When will we start to have the truth? When we can't even speak in truth amongst ourselves. If I cannot be allowed to ask a dumb question, if it seems dumb to you guys, because if there's 10 of us standing here and there's 3 police officers with guns, yeah, I get it. We don't want to die. But if we're willing to go to a rally where they will kill us, where there's army coming in to shoot, I'm sorry, again, this is me. This is me. This is how I think. If I was there, I would have walked up and raised hell. Maybe if I raised hell, but everybody doesn't have to do that. And the reason I do that is because I've been in so many rallies where police were trying to manhandle people, and I walked up to them and I start talking, and for something changes. And it might not change. So I asked that question yesterday. Why would people want to be willing to die at a riot, but not be willing to stop the policeman? Olu came there and gave me a whole thesis, and I read it, and I went to all the websites she put the link on, and I understand why some people won't do that. But for me, as an activist, as a woman that sits here and speaks authentically to people, I have to ask that question. And yes, it might have hurt some people. That wasn't my intent. My intention was to learn something. That's not my intent. My intention was to learn something. How do we learn something if we're not willing to speak the truth? How do we learn something if you're not willing to allow me to speak my truth? When I post on my page, I could have written it in my book. I posted it on my page because I want your opinion. Don't come there and abuse me. I won't abuse you. Don't come there and talk ish. Don't tell me I'm stupid, because honey, the person that called me stupid is a freaking kitchen help. She called me stupid. And maybe it was a stupid move to think I have a lot of intelligent people on my page. But how do I learn if I can't ask questions? So it's better for me to walk around thinking what I'm thinking if it's wrong. We have to stop putting a muzzle on people. I have racist people on my page, just so you know. I have them on my page for a purpose, so I can learn how they think. Let them be there. All black people are not the same. Black people voted. The same black people that are jumping up and down is one of them that was on my page talking ish, was one of them that when I asked the question, what do you think about foreigners in America? I said, we need to close the borders. She said, let's make America great again. She'll probably vote. I'm not sure she voted for Donald Trump, but at that point, you're quoting what Donald Trump was saying. And now you want to pretend like you really do give a shit about what's going on because it's trendy. I will continue to speak in truth. My truth might be different from your truth because of your experiences. But from what I know, this mentality of I'm a victim thing that we do is not getting us anywhere. You can burn buildings down till you die, until you get to the point where your money becomes your gun, until you get to the point where your intellect becomes your weapon, until you get to the point where you are part of the people making decisions. We're going to be here for a very long time. We're going to be here 50 years from now, after I'm dead and buried. I say 50 years because I'm 55 and I like to wear high heels. I don't want to be here with not being able to, have all my senses together. So in 50 years, if we don't start to use, I said use our brains the other day, somebody came and attacked me. We can't continue to use guns, burn things down. We've been burning, we've done it several times. Things change slightly, but it doesn't really make a dent. Police officers have to start speaking up when they see something wrong. Until we make rules and regulations and policies that makes all the police officers on a scene responsible for the outcome, nothing's going to happen. 3 police officers stood there while this man had his knees on the neck of a black man for 8 minutes. A Chinese officer, another white guy, and a few other people were standing around, and they said nothing. They did nothing. EMTs came. Emergency people came. Ambulance came. They strutted there like they're going to a party. In a situation like that, you're running. In a situation where the guy is saying, I can't breathe, my tummy hurts, you're running. Because when somebody starts to say my tummy hurts and I can't breathe, it's because they're about to die. We all know that. If we don't know it, go and Google it. EMTs are trained to do that. And EMT did not think it was possible. They should have told Chevron, the police officer that was kneeling on George Floyd's neck, to get off it. All the buildings you burn in the world is not going to change the policies until we start to sit at the table to change the policies, because the systematic racism that has been embedded in the system all over the world where Black people live is not going anywhere until we start to have authentic conversations. We need to start to, in my opinion again, get to know white people, open your doors to white people, and white people, if you're hearing me, you need to do the same thing for Black people. I brought whites on the show the other day. A lot of them were like, this is crazy. We don't get this, because they don't. This is 2020. It's the policies that we have to change. We have to change the policies, not, and then once we start working towards how do we get to change the policies? We start being friends, we start communicating, we start talking, allowing people to talk about their fears and what they think and what they have seen and things like that. Get angry, folks. Get angry. Get so angry. I got so angry yesterday. I was sobbing. My wife was standing there going, just get it out of you. I was sobbing. How are we still here in 2020? Get angry, but use your anger to create a wave of change. Change of policies in the United States, change of policies in Nigeria, change of policies everywhere else. Change. Yes, I'm raising 2 Black boys that will soon be men. Would you want that to be your son, whose life was snuffed out of him? Think about it. See, while we're all upset and jumping up and down, let's use our anger constructively. Let's use our anger to influence that white person that we work with. Get to know them. So that maybe, just maybe, if they know you, they will now tell their cousins, their friends, their dogs, their cats a little bit about us. Black people. Invite them to your homes. Let them know who you are. Talk to them until we start talking to each other and getting to know each other. Transparently and authentically. Having conversations. Until we start to give people permission to ask questions of each other. Because they're looking to learn, not to be condescending. A lot of the questions I ask, even when I ask questions I have answers to, I always say, pardon my ignorance. Because I don't know it all. When I ask a simple question, it's because I've thought about it, I've done research, and it's not making sense. What could we do differently? We've been burning ish up for many, many years, folks. They burnt in Nigeria. I was in the Ali Mongo era. Tear gas in my nose and face. Nigeria is still the way it is. We've burnt things all over the world as Black people. It's not working. It hasn't worked a lot. Let's take our power, which is the money we have. Start investing in Black-owned businesses. We did it once before. They burned the whole damn thing down. Do it again. That's called grit. Grit. At 55, I went back to school. Twice. It's called grit. We work out of a lot of emotions. A lot of times. And I know we're all emotional people. And I always cry on shows like this because we are all traumatized. I am traumatized by Black American people, some Black American people. I'm traumatized by some white people. I'm traumatized by a lot of Nigerian people because I'm Black, because I'm a woman, because I'm gay, and because I'm an immigrant. When a Black American tells me to go back to my country, it hurts. When a white man tells me to go back to my country, it hurts. But guess what I do? I make friends. I let them sit on my page. If they need to, when they start abusing other people, I'll take them off. I don't delete anybody's bad comments on my post. I leave it there for educational purposes. So we can all see how we all treat each other. So we can see that when people think they're the only victims, how dare you come to my page and say, oh, don't post something stupid like this. It might be stupid to you, but it wasn't stupid to me. It's a valid question, and I'm sure I'm not the only one thinking about it. Unfortunately, I'm the one with the big mouth that usually speaks what a lot of people are thinking. I'm about to do a show on Wednesday with a bunch of Nigerian women that are feminists, and we're going to be talking about the issues of misogyny, which is another form of bias. Women have men's knees on their neck in Nigeria. Next Saturday, I'm bringing African Americans together with Africans. 100% Africans that migrated to Africa, one person that lives in Africa, that's been begging to get out of Africa for many, many years. I'm bringing him on. And I'm going to bring one corporate Black American and a blue-collar Black American. See, there's socioeconomic distances amongst all people, white, Black, or green. You get to pick where you want to be in your life because nothing stops you from doing anything but you. There will be obstacles. There will be racism. There will be tribalism. There will be colorism. Because when you're light-skinned, you get better jobs than dark-skinned people like me. There will be all of that. But if you continue to put one foot in front of the other, you will get to your promised land if you don't give up. Problem is, we like instant gratification. Burn the houses down, burn this down. I don't think like that. Burn all you want. Me, I'm not going to be a part of it. I will be a part of the people that destroy systematic racism and oppression wherever I am. I have managed to do it by being gay, by bringing the word gay into the Nigerian community and allowing people to see that a gay woman owns businesses, to see that gay people run businesses. We are not crazy, we're compassionate, we're empathetic, and we're human just like you. I have done that in the Nigerian community. I didn't convince everybody because I can't convince everybody. I cannot convince everybody that Black Lives Matter. But if I embodify the fact that Black Lives Matter by carrying myself respectfully, by doing the best Moji can do, by being the best version of me that I can be, when I run into a white person and all they know of is this one, what they see on TV, and they meet me, hopefully I will be able to create a tiny wave of change. We can't live in the past if we're trying to get to the future. We have to start to think about what we are going to do differently. The world is not a fair place. Not if you have brown skin. The world is not a fair place. I say if you're a woman. The world is not a fair place in America if you're a Black immigrant. The world is not a fair place if you're a gay person. Unconscious bias is all over the place. For those of us that have quad minority statuses, most of us sit around thinking, what can we do to change the narrative? My name is Mojisola Wilson. I truly thank you guys that always come on the show because I learn from you a lot. And that's what this world should be about. And what I learn here, I take it out and I take it to the small groups of young Black people and white people that I speak to, that I mentor. And that's how the world's going to change. Olu teaches me something. I teach somebody else something. Allow me to hear your pain. Allow me to see your pain. Allow me to hear your story. Authentic conversations is how we will heal this trauma that Blacks have been going through for many, many years. Most whites that I know are not racist. Some are. But to change what's on the ground at the moment, we need whites. They're 70% of the population in America. We need them to be on our sides, even if it's 50% of them, not 70%. But we have to allow them to ask questions of us, to ask us what we've been through, where we're coming from, without feeling offended. Go and speak bluntly. Speak your heart. Cry if you have to. Get it out of your system. Black lives matter. Yes, they do. But all lives matter. And this is not what the MAGA people are saying. This is what I, Moji, believe in. Because at the end of the day, I have been discriminated against by everybody you want to put on the table. Is it Blacks? Yes. Is it whites? Yes. Is it Nigerians? Yes. Is it women? Yes. Is it, name it. Respect my views. I respect yours. My life matters. Me saying life matters does not mean your life does not matter. The same way I ask you to respect my Blackness and I will respect your whiteness is the way we all have to respect each other. Diversity of thought is how innovations come about. Diversity of everything is how inventions come about. Somebody thinks the iPad is not fast enough. They created iPad. We're on iPad 3. If everybody was just sitting there and clapping for the original person that created the first iPad, we would not grow. We would not grow. We would not grow. That's all I'm saying. Before I go, let me put this up. Olu says we could stand on a corner as a Black woman and hail a Black cab. But a lot of the time, back in the day, Black men could not do the same. We got angry, but accepted the unfairness. Don't get angry and accept the unfairness. See, that's where a lot of people and I different. I don't accept the unfairness. I'm sitting here trying to come up with ideas and ways to do better. See, get angry. Open up your own cab company. Get angry, get 10, 15, 20, 30 black people together and open up a cab company. Get angry and do something that empowers the people. Not put more shackles on us. Get angry. Use your anger to empower yourself. Every stone that's been thrown at me, I have used to build a stepping stone. When they told me at Century 21, when I first got there, they said, oh, you'll never, ever, in 6 months, make a dime. I did. Tell me I can't do something, that's when I'll do it. I'm the first black woman on the Staten Island Board of Realtors. Black, period, probably. On the Board of Governors of Staten Island Board of Realtors. I could not advance past that. But times are changing. Because for each and every one of us that thinks differently, for each and every one of us that thinks differently, and says, look, you can't stop me. And I know everybody does not have that drive. And I know everybody does not have the grit. Part of the problem is that people are not willing to do the work. I had a mentee that told me he wanted to be a physical therapist. And I said, oh, you know, my wife is a doctor, I think you have to go to school for like 9 years. He's like, oh, 9 years? I can't do that. Of course, that's what it takes. Doctors are in school for 10 years sometimes. Lawyers are in school for 7 years. But you want to wear your name on your shirt and then get upset at the black people that made it. It's not acceptable. You gotta be able to do, you have to be willing to do the work. Nothing comes easy in this world. Nothing. None of us that got here because our father is this or our father is that. Get together. Let's build things together. I cannot build a whole city by myself as a realtor. I need an electrician, I need a plumber, I need a roofer, I need a person to put in the AC. Build your community up. But I ask you to work with people that are qualified, not just because they're black. That's the difference. Expect the best from everybody that you meet. And for those that cannot make it to their best, help them. Give them a helping hand. But they have to come prepared to do the work, because I'm no longer carrying anybody on my head. We cannot become free until we free our minds, until we start to own businesses, until we start to think how, where, what, how do I get here? And then be willing to walk stone, be willing to do the work to get there. That's the only way. Allow people to ask you questions. Allow people to think and not react. Allow people to be proactive and not reactive. We all should be proactive and not reactive. We've been burning things down for years in Nigeria, in London, in the United States. 55 years later, we're still doing the same damn thing and we're still haven't progressed much. It's time to do something different. My name is Mojisola Wilson. Authentic conversations is what we have here. Sometimes it hurts people because I know it hurts to think. It hurts me to think. I cried all week. The weekend was even worse because I had no distractions. So I sobbed a lot. Because that man, George Floyd, could have been my son, my brother, my nephew, my cousin, my friend. But one thing I know for a fact from my personal walk is that all black people are not saints. All white people are not saints. We all have our own unconscious bias. It could be race, it could be sexuality, it could be tribes, it could be black people against black Americans against white Americans. I have endured racism, bigotry, homophobia on every level. So if I don't think the same way as you, understand my walk is different from yours. As I understand your walk is different from mine. So share your stories with me. Explain your walk to me. And don't just assume that I know. Because They teach us history. They teach us history. History. They never teach us a story. I'm going to take this. People need mentors, someone who looks like them to encourage them, to tell them some ugly truth. Shuku to you. Thank you for being honest. That's what I do. The honest, ugly truth. You might not like me for it, but I assure you that when you're sitting in your own house by yourself, without all the applause on social media, you will realize that my question is posted for you to think. I'm a Black woman, Black Nigerian, absolutely gay and fabulous woman that has paid her dues. I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't become who I am because I laid there and said, oh, it's the fault of my father or my mother for leaving, my father for sending me here at a young age, because I'm Black, because I'm gay, because I'm this, because I'm Black. I made here because I looked at the world in the eye and said, hey, I am Black, Nigerian, immigrant, and gay, but I was created in the image of God. And I fear no one. I really do, but I tell myself that every day. I'm scared of Nigerian people a lot. But I do. I tell myself every day, I look in the mirror, I walk to the mirror, and I do the I ams, because if I don't, by the time I spend 15 minutes on Twitter and they have shredded me into 1,000 pieces, and then I come to Facebook and Black Americans are telling me, I am African. I am not African. I believe in human rights. And another client told me 2 years ago, go back to your country. And Black Americans come on my thread and tell me I'm stupid because I ask a question. And then I step out and the white man stops me. Every day I have to look in the mirror and tell myself the truth. I am Nigerian. I am Black. I am beautiful. I am resourceful. I am gay. I am a good person. I am compassionate. I do my I ams for like 5 minutes before I turn on Facebook so that I'm ready for the day. Our walk as Black people is not easy. It's not going to be easy for a while. But it's our duty to do the best that we can. It's our duty to listen to each other. Black, white, green. Without that, I don't see us getting anywhere. Again, my personal opinion. To you, those of you guys that believe that burning buildings down and everything is going to do it, shuko to you. I don't believe that, because we've been doing the same thing for many, many years. And it's okay for me not to believe that. It's okay for you to believe what you believe. It really is. I respect your opinion, as I respect your nationality, as I respect your walk. I might not understand why a lot of people do what they do, and they don't understand why I do what I do either. That's why it's important to talk to each other, so that I can learn from you and you can learn from me. The white man can learn who you are. Communication, transparent, authentic communication, not sugar-coated BS that we've been feeding each other for so long. My name is Mojisola Wilson. And I am telling you, things will change. It's not going to change fast, but it will change. But we all have to roll up our sleeves and hit those sidewalks and hit the books. Become a lawyer, become a banker, become a business owner, own a grocery store, own a salon, own these businesses that we all need. Because when I was telling somebody, I said, look, we need to start spending our money with Black-owned businesses. The guy says to me, Moji, I'm a Black American. We don't own anything. I was called. Olu says there's power in numbers. There is powers in numbers. We need to start to cooperate with each other in order to build businesses that where we can use our buying power to change the system. We need to start getting educated so we can become the lawyers that fight all these policies that are put in place, so that we can become senators, And now we already know we can become president. It's going to be hard as hell to get another black person in the office. But we'll get there again one day. If we just do the work it will take to get there. My name is Moji Solo Wilson. Authentic Conversation is the show. I ask you to do me a favor and share the video if anything I said here resonates with you. I'm also on YouTube. Please do me a favor and go to my page and subscribe to it and follow the page. Talk among your friends. Share the information with the white people in your community. Let them get to know you. You get to know them. There's too much fear planted in each and every one of us. For our tomorrow to be better than our today, we need to start to do something differently to get a different result. Again, I thank you for joining me. Namaste.